What's up, this is Marcus. This is your 15-minute kettlebell workout. You need one kettlebell. We're gonna go through 3 different movements. We got the snatch, we have the windmill, and then we have some groundwork to just kind of have a nice, well-rounded strength conditioning type of workout. This is gonna be more geared towards conditioning because we're going 30 seconds of work, 30 seconds of rest, but it is going to be full body. So you're gonna get a sweat in, make sure that you're picking a challenging enough weight that during that 30 seconds, you feel like you pushed yourself to like a 6 or a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. So 10 being like, I can't do another rep, Marcus, don't even make me. Get to like 6 or 7, so don't go too crazy here. Anyway, so pick the appropriate weight. If you don't have kettlebells, utilize dumbbells. Push yourself as much as you can. If this is the first time going through it, just go through the movements and then try it again at a different time where you can actually exert yourself. So, all right, that's it. Let's get started. All right, we're starting this party off with some dead start snatches. So bell is in your right hand, right in between your feet. You're going to pull explosively all the way to the top. So we're going 30 seconds of work, 30 seconds of rest. Because we're doing this dead start version where the bell comes all the way down to the ground, you have a second to rest. And because the bell gets to overhead position, you have another kind of second to rest. So you can make this as intense where you're moving fast, you're moving quick, or you can slow it down. But the goal here is to get that dead start snatch. Oh, one more time. And down. So I already kind of described it. We're going through each of these. We're going to go 3 different exercises: dead start snatch, windmill, and then we're gonna do some groundwork to get some strength, some rotation in there. And I just find this to be a really fun full body conditioning workout that has some great carryover. So right side first, 30 seconds of rest. Now that rest should feel like just enough. If it's too much, that means you gotta go a little bit heavier. All right, other side. Giving you another angle here. So I'm making this kind of the simplest variation in that I'm bringing it down to the rack position. I'm stopping, I'm kind of pausing in these different positions. So from the ground and in the overhead position. Oh, so I want you to explode through the ground. Stand up tall. Let that bell just wrap around the forearm. Don't worry about the punch through. And I got some tutorials on the snatch as well. Whew. Which I haven't linked, I will link, but I really like that kind of corkscrew method where the bell goes around the forearm versus up and over. All right, next one we're gonna do is the windmill. So first one we're gonna do is just body weight. If you know how to do a kettlebell windmill, throw a kettlebell on you just for, because you can make this a little bit more challenging. But I wanna make sure that if you don't know how to do a windmill, we at least have the mechanics down. So feet are about hip width, turn them to the left, kick this right hip out, bring this right arm overhead. And now all I want you to do is come down the inside of that left foot and then right back to standing. So I'm driving my hip down and I'm slightly rotating my torso. So this is great for some core strength, for some upper body strength and mobility, especially once this upper arm is loaded. And just overall mobility. I love this exercise to get some rotation in there. Oh. And for some people, this might be as far as you go. This might be as challenging as you need it to be. I've had clients where the first time I get them into that position without any weight, they're like, yo, I'm done. I don't need to go any further than this. But we will take it further. We got 3 sets. Each set, I'll make it progressively more difficult. All right, turn your feet to the right now. Kick this left hip out. You're gonna bring this left arm overhead. And same thing, I'm gonna look up at that arm. And the goal is to touch the ground, but go as low as you can. So maybe that's only gonna be about knee height, shin height, whatever that looks like for you. So at first, it might just look like this. Maintain that tension, open up the torso, and then right back to standing. If that feels good, go a little bit lower. If that feels good, go a little bit lower. Take your time with this one, nice and controlled. That's why we're doing 30 seconds, where you're gonna get 5 to 8 reps if you're moving pretty quickly, 3 to 5, you're going real slow. And almost done. And down. All right, let's take it to the ground. We're gonna get into the quadruped position, so just a fancy way of saying crawl position. And for this first one, all we're gonna do is we're gonna just shift our weight. So I'm gonna lift up my left hand and my right knee, and then my right hand and my left knee, trying to maintain a nice flat back. So try to have this nice tabletop position. All right, just a few more seconds. Oh. And if the wrists are bothering you, you can go on your fists or you can hold on to some dumbbells. So from right here, my knees are hovering, my wrists are over my shoulders. I'm gonna lift up my left, my right, and my left, just back and forth. So we're gonna make it nice and easy here. And when I say easy, this is still not gonna be very easy. It should be still pretty challenging. So you can speed it up. You can go a little bit slower, controlled. You can take that foot and that knee off, or that hand and that knee off. Pause for a second. So just getting, again, some more core work, some shoulder, definitely some shoulders in here. And I just love this back to back or back and forth way of doing this, where I'm focusing on my left and my right side each time. Oh, connecting the hemispheres. Oh my gosh, I totally went through that rest period. All right, I gotta make that ding a lot louder. All right, back to the dead start snatch. So from the ground, I'm gonna go a little bit faster. I'm gonna make it a little bit more difficult. So right hand on the ground, or on the bell, down. I'm gonna come right down, no pause in the rack position. So be able to control, decelerate that weight. Whew. If that feels too difficult, or you're putting too much pressure on your lower back or your shoulders, just bring it down to the shoulder again, and then back to the ground. But the focus should be driving through the ground explosively. Oh, even with a light weight. Oh, it's gonna feel challenging, especially as you start kind of just ripping through the reps here. Oh, let's do the other side here. You got dead start snatch. So bell's right in between midfoot. I'll show you a little trick here. If the snatch is a unique exercise for you or new for you, you can always use a dumbbell, or you can do a clean position and then a higher clean. All right, go for it. So snatches if you know how to snatch, otherwise go to the clean. If that feels good, go a little bit higher, back to the rack, a little bit higher, back to the rack, until you're getting all the way overhead. So main thing here is just maintaining a nice loose grip so that bell rotates around the forearm. You have that overhead mobility that you can get through this pretty easily. Oh. Whew. All right, that's our snatch. Now into windmill. So the last time we started with the right arm, we're gonna do the same thing, but now we're gonna load the bottom position, the bottom part of this. So I'm gonna have my feet hip width, turn to the left, kick this right hip out, right arm overhead. The bell's on the inside of the left foot. So I'm gonna have the same mechanics here. Still wanna look up at that hand, but I'm gonna hold on to the bell from the ground. I'm gonna pull it up by driving that hip back. So I should be feeling this, you should be feeling this on your glutes, definitely on your back to some extent, your obliques. Make sure that you're creating enough tension through that front part of your abs versus the back part of your abs, not your lower back. You are gonna be challenging your lower back here, but just make sure that you're creating enough tension. And I'm still looking at this hand overhead because the last set, we're gonna go overhead. And, oh, again, just a great way to get the obliques, serratus, all these little intrinsic abdominal muscles as well. So I think rotation is underrated. Most of the time we do it very explosively, which is also important, but even just doing it with control. So now the bell's on the inside of the right foot, the left hand's overhead, and all I'm gonna do is drive this hip back, rotate my torso, and go for it. Creating a ton of tension through my abs, keeping this arm overhead because I'm preparing for when I have this bell overhead. And like I said, you should be feeling this on your hip, on your glute, on your oblique, a little bit on your lower back, and then I'm maintaining tension throughout my abs. Oh, almost there. And time. All right, let's take it to the ground. This time, we're going to add in a little hip twist. So I'm gonna keep my hands on the ground. I'm gonna bring my knees up, and I'm going to shift my weight from side to side. So from here, I'm gonna keep my feet a little bit further forward so my knees are almost under my belly button. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate. I'm gonna get this hand off the ground, right back, rotate, get this hand off the ground, push that shoulder down, away from the ear, back and forth, okay? So I'm gonna keep this hand off the ground. All right, go for it. Nice and controlled. Quadruped position, back here, hip to the ground, push that shoulder away, back to the quadruped, rotate. So I can go a little bit faster, a little smoother, a little more explosive, some freaking breakdancing, or just slow it down, control. Slowing things down will definitely add another level of a challenge to it. Whew, I heard the ding on that one. All right, last set, we're going dead start snatch again. This time, I want you to try not to rest. So as soon as it comes up, come right back down, barely tap the ground, or don't even tap the ground. Try to just keep that momentum going, but still staying in that vertical line. So I'm not letting the bell fall forward, and I'm not swinging the bell up. I really like this one. Just to be more challenging from the quads, my shoulders, my upper back, my grip, all the things you're feeling right now that you're like, Marcus, I get it. It all sucks in a good way. I'll give you a side angle on this next one. Almost done. And time. Whew, even freaking 35 pounds. This is freaking bananas. So double down on that tension. So as you come down, make sure that bell is pulling you forward. You're not feeling the strain on your lower back, okay? Super important that you make sure you avoid that at all costs. All right, shake it out. And 3, 2, 1, go. Just right in between the feet. And if you're having issues with that bell landing or overhead mobility, just turn it into the clean, go into the rack position, just shoulder height. Or you can switch it to a dumbbell. It's all good in the hood. Breathe in, pressurize as the bell comes down, drive through the ground, let that bell come up. Oh, yo, freaking light weights, man. All right, for this last set of windmill, I'm going overhead with the bell in my right arm. I'm gonna rotate my feet to the left, look up at the bell as I come down. So use one of the other variations if this is too challenging or you don't feel like the weight is light enough for you. So go ahead and bring it overhead. Right arm, kick the hip out. If you can, touch the ground. If you can't, go to your shin, go to your knee, go to your quad. But the goal should be to get all the way to the ground. And then you can even just get that hand up. I like to put it right on the other hip. Oh, that allows me to go a little bit deeper, get a little bit more rotation in there. Almost done. And time. And you might notice that I'm slightly bending my knees. So I like having a little bit softer of a knee as I do this, because then I can kind of manipulate how far I get into that rotation and put less stress on my lower back, more into my hip, my glute, my quads, versus locked out and then just hinging right at the hips. So what works for you, you go ahead and do. All right, last windmill, bring it overhead and go for it. Touch the ground, right back up. Go as low as you feel comfortable. So notice I'm doing it with this straight knee. Now I'm gonna go slightly softer knee, and you'll feel some of the tension kind of dissipate from your lower back. But it's still there. Oh, it's still there. I'm not worrying about reps, just getting through the movement. Oh, and down. All right, last one. We're gonna do another one of those hip twists. This time I'm gonna keep both hands on the ground. So I'm gonna rotate my hips back and forth, get my hip to the ground, rotate, get my hip to the ground, but I'm gonna keep both hands on the ground. So it's gonna really accentuate that rotation. I'm gonna feel it a ton through my core. All right, 5 seconds. Controlling your breath and go for it. Hip to the ground, back to quadruped. Hip to the ground, back to quadruped, back and forth. So you might find your feet starting to slide. Just bring them forward, bring them back to that starting point. But try to move pretty quick. You're gonna feel a nice stretch through your lower back. Oh, some loaded mobility through this conditioning. My heart rate is up, sweat's going. Almost done. And oh, goodness. So that was 15 minutes. Goes by fast when you're trying to tune me out. So I love these type of workouts as like my conditioning, where I can kind of have fun, try some different things, play around with some different movements, not get so caught up on trying to do the same thing and progressively getting stronger necessarily. Like that's what my strength work is for. If I were to do this again, and this was my main strength work, then yes, I would try to go heavier with the same exercises. But this is what makes kettlebell so freaking fun. I talk about this almost every time because there's so many things you can do. It's literally limited by your imagination. You could do the same exercise 100 times. You can do something like this. You could do 100 exercises. You can do so many different things. So my goal with this, to give you some ideas, to help motivate you and help you just move your body and do things that are going to allow you to kind of keep that physical freedom. So hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, make sure to subscribe for more. And if you like this type of programming, these type of workouts, kind of fast-paced kettlebell stuff, I know you will love Kettlebell Elements. I got links and all that stuff down below. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. Come back to it, try it again, and I will see you on the next one. Whoa.